I may seem like a balmy old git now, but when I wasn't so long in the tooth, I had some grand larks and engaged in a fair amount of daring do.
Number 20. Tim Curry as Lloyd Wexler. Tim Curry is always entertaining, but he has a knack for playing two types of characters in particular, butlers and evildoers. In Phineas and Ferb, he plays both in one episode. On a trip to merry old England, Curry can be heard as Stubbings, the Pipping family's prim and proper butler.
I believe it's my serve. Oh dear, I have punned.
While this role brings Wadsworth from Clue to mind, he also gives voice to Dr. Lloyd Wexler. Technically, the mad scientist spends this episode tied up while Perry goes undercover as him. When Perry is backed into a corner, though, he's forced to break out a recording of Wexler.
The heavy hand of regret infrequently alights the malevolent path. Is one trod without the cumbersome shackles of sentimental
His voice pops up again in another episode as Worthington Du Bois, who, despite being Buford and Baljeet incognito, is 100% Curry.
And we'd like to introduce the actor responsible for bringing our villain to life.
Don't you mean...
Actors? Because there's two of us. Take a bow, guys.
Number 19. Allison Janney as Charlene Doofenshmirtz. If you've ever wondered how Heinz Doofenshmirtz can afford to build all those innators, look no further than his ex-wife Charlene. Voiced by Allison Janney, Charlene doesn't realize how Doof is spending his alimony checks, despite her daughter's best efforts to expose him as an evil scientist.
He's not evil, honey. No one's evil.
No, Mom, he's evil. You don't know this about him? He has evil schemes.
Janney brings a grounded sense of normalcy to the role that humorously contrasts Doof's eccentric nature. We get why their marriage didn't last, but we're not entirely sure what Charlene saw in him in the first place.
Seriously, how did he ever run this place without me?
Now that's a backstory we want to see. As different as they are in this dimension, their counterparts sure make for a dastardly duo in the second dimension. Janney also voices Charlene here, bringing out the character's more diabolical side.
And now, children, we have prepared a nice cozy prison cell for you.
All the animal agents.
Wait, you haven't seen my newest one.
You villain!
Number 18. Lorenzo Llamus as Meep. Lorenzo Llamus is a Golden Globe-nominated actor who's worked in soap operas and crime dramas. He also voices the adorable alien Meep, whose vocabulary is initially limited to one word.
Meep!
Well, that must have been the easiest paycheck of Llamus's career. Of course, once Meep gets his hands on a standard mustache translator, Llamus is able to communicate much more eloquently.
I am an intergalactic security agent who roams the universe, busting people who do stuff they're not supposed to do.
It's always hilarious hearing Meep's voice suddenly change from cartoonishly high-pitched to a deep American accent fit for a radio announcer. Comedian Jeff Foxworthy and co-creator Jeff Swampy Marsh have also loaned their voices to Meep when he switches out mustaches.
You must rally the troops and head him off at the evil fortress. This is war.
As far as we're concerned, though, there's only one Meep in the galaxy.
Do llamas weird you out? Are they camels or sheep? No, I meant Lorenzo. Oh, that's right, he played Meep.
Number 17. Brenda Song as Wendy. Many of the teenagers in Phineas and Ferb are voiced by Disney Channel alumni. Candace, for example, is voiced by Ashley Tisdale, who played Sharpay Evans in High School Musical and Maddie Fitzpatrick in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Brenda Song also starred in The Sweet Life as hotel heiress London Tipton.
Really?
Not only have Tisdale and Song played on-screen friends, but they're good friends in real life as well. In a clever bit of Phineas and Ferb casting, Song voiced Candace's rival Wendy in one episode.
Hi there, I'm really motivated. Really positive. Really high energy. I would like to apply for the job.
Energetic and assertive, Wendy competes against Candace for a job at Mr. Slushy Burger, where both ultimately end up with condiments on their faces.
Oops, now I'm out of ketchup. Oops, now I'm out of mustard. Oh, look, I'm out of relish.
While her role is brief, Song's presence is a nice in-joke for Disney holics. Number 16. Michael Douglas as Waylon. Although Phineas and Ferb primarily takes place during the summer, this episode fast-forwards to October 31st. On Halloween night, the gang meets a kid named Russell, who claims that his house is haunted.
Cool.
No, not cool. The horrifying screams, moving shadows, floating objects, ghosts, zombies, vampires. It's really freaking me out, man.
Russell was voiced by a then 10-year-old Dylan Douglas. You might not recognize that name, but you definitely know Dylan's father, Oscar winner Michael Douglas. The elder Douglas also gets in on the frights and delights as Waylon, Russell's father.
How did you do that?
Sorry, that's a trade secret.
It turns out that Russell's house isn't haunted, but his family is highly experienced in the art of tricks and treats.
Darn servo motors. You guys really gave us a heck of a workout.
Now, if only they could have gotten Catherine Zeta-Jones to voice Russell's mother, Mona. Nevertheless, the two Douglases certainly made this a Halloween to remember. Number 15. Wayne Brady as Don. Comedian Wayne Brady brings a positive energy to every role he takes on. Don, who poses as a Danville City Hall tour guide, is no exception. Don takes educating citizens about the tri-state area very seriously.
Wouldn't want a bunch of uninformed people wandering around City Hall.
But you can't fight it. I've been on this tour since this morning and I've been caught trying to escape twice.
No talking back there.
Despite being a stickler for the rules, Don isn't a stick in the mud. He's so passionate about the tri-state area's history that he can't help but sing about it.
The founders of the area were independent thinkers, completely unaffected by bureaucratic hurdles, and that's why the Capitol building was moved from Sri Lanka on the backs of 7 giant sea turtles.
Honestly, it'd be a crime if Wayne Brady didn't spontaneously break out into song here. Brady's comedic timing is also well suited for the number's fast pace and complex lyrics. Although he knows everything about Danville, Don may or may not be of this world.
I was sent by Yarnak to help uninformed citizens in need. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am needed elsewhere. Whoosh.
Either way, looks like Doofenshmirtz isn't the only one who wants to rule the tri-state area. Number 14. Danny Trejo as Venom. Phineas and Ferb's Marvel crossover packs in so many characters that it can be tough to identify the voice work. Of course, it doesn't help Venom's case that he gets significantly fewer lines than Red Skull and other baddies. But he's voiced by none other than Machete actor Danny Trejo.
He is beautifully grotesque, all hideous and deformed. He must have some backstory.
And he supplies Venom with a slithery voice that makes it feel as if the symbiote is crawling into your ear.
Plus, I got free roaming. Nice.
On one hand, we wish Trejo had more dialogue here. On the other, it's kind of funny seeing an actor of Trejo's caliber limited to such a brief speaking role. However you look at it, we'd love for Trejo to voice the iconic character again.
We could have destroyed the heroes once and for all.
Number 13. Elizabeth Banks as Grulinda Bubenware. Perry the Platypus may be Doofenshmirtz's nemesis, but he wasn't his first enemy. As a child in Gimmelstump, a girl named Grulinda repeatedly poured buckets of water on Doof. At least it wasn't pig's blood. Although Doof plans to exact revenge years later, he's blown away to find that the now grown-up Grulinda is every bit as beautiful as Elizabeth Banks.
All right, Gru.
She kinda sounds like her too, albeit with a thick European accent.
Sorry, bottom Heinz Doofenshmirtz, it is you.
Since we still don't know what part of Europe Gimmelstump is in, it's appropriate that Banks's over-the-top accent sounds like a hodgepodge of various regions. Just as Banks's accent is hard to get a grasp on, so are Grulinda's intentions, as she actually poured water on Doof because she liked him.
Heinz, I was 8. Have you been holding this petty grudge all these years?
Well, no, it's not petty. I was explaining to the platypus earlier. It's not petty.
Well, here you go. I pour water on your head.
Oh.
Number 12. Sandra O as Doofenshmirtz's girlfriend. Sandra O is a household name thanks to her work in Grey's Anatomy and Killing Eve, but she's almost unrecognizable as the voice of Doofenshmirtz's girlfriend.
Hello, I'm looking for Strudel Cutie 4427.
Well, girlfriend might be a stretch. We hesitate to even call this a real first date. She spent the whole night obsessing over Perry, who posed as Doof's pet. It's usually not the best sign when your date is more interested in your pet than you.
He's so sweet.
Oh, yes, he's
Well, I guess he can stay a little bit, but you know what they say. Three's a crowd and whatnot.
O is hysterical as an overly affectionate animal lover fluent in baby talk. Although she'll warmly rub a platypus up against her face, Bigfoot is another story.
Bigfoot? Bigfoot! No, wait, it's me!
Doof might not be a catch, but after getting pushed off the balcony, it's not surprising that he didn't call her up for a second date. Number 11. Tina Fey as Annabelle Johnson. Phineas and Ferb episodes traditionally have multiple storylines that unexpectedly collide. This is one of the funniest examples. As Candace runs for her life, Doofenshmirtz shows his building to a potential buyer named Annabelle and her partner.
Oh, honey, look at this. It's like 1973 in here. My favorite year! Where did they ever find such rare furnishing?
In addition to being voiced by Tina Fey, Annabelle shares an uncanny resemblance to the comedian with her brunette hair and signature glasses. Since 30 Rock was essentially a live-action cartoon, Liz Lemon doesn't feel out of place here. Just as Annabelle is about to sign the paperwork, Candace accidentally runs away with her to Jeremy's family picnic.
Well, I'm really hoping for a short escort.
We're gonna check out some other neighborhoods.
As it turns out, Annabelle is Jeremy's long-lost cousin, ingeniously bridging the two stories together.
Uncle Jack, it's all coming back to me. You were right. I never should have taken that job hanging anvils.
Also, we could totally see Faye hanging anvils for a living. Number 10. Evander Holyfield as himself. Even in its early years, Phineas and Ferb managed to line up some high-profile guest stars. In episode 6, Phineas is forced to face off against Buford after accidentally spilling ice cream on him. Fortunately, Phineas finds an overqualified trainer in heavyweight boxing champion Evander Holyfield, who Isabella is quick to recognize.
World heavyweight boxing champion Evander Holyfield?
Aren't you a little old to be a professional boxer?
Yes, I am.
Cool.
What makes Holyfield especially overqualified is that the two boys don't even engage in a boxing match. They instead duke it out in a thumb wrestling ring. What do you want? This is Disney, not Scorsese.
And in no way should this ensuing fight contain the image of a potentially harmful, hurtful, or psychologically disturbing physical act that could be found imitatable by an impressionable child viewer.
Although the stakes are relatively low, Holyfield still voices himself with great enthusiasm and surprising comedic chops, reminding us why he's the champ.
Thank you, Mr. Holyfield.
Yeah, wouldn't have been real without you.
Happy to help you boys find a slightly less violent way to settle your differences.
Number 9. Geraldo Rivera as Morty Williams. After Phineas and Ferb are finally busted, Candace does a 180 and tries to spring her brothers from reform school.
I kind of miss the little guys. It's as if there was a whole other side to our relationship that I never noticed before.
To gain entry, she goes undercover as Morty Williams, a mustachioed talk show host who isn't afraid to exploit the misfortune of others for financial gain and to further his own career. Yeah, it's pretty obvious who this is supposed to be a parody of. So it makes sense that the real Morty Williams would be voiced by Geraldo Rivera himself.
Today on the Morty Williams Show, my kid is bad and I want to blame others. We'll go inside the nation's toughest reformatory school, where free-thinking children undergo complete personality reprogramming.
Come to think of it, the real Morty Williams might not have been real since this episode was all a dream. In any case, it's fun seeing Geraldo willingly poke fun at his own persona.
Yup, it's time to go back inside the Smile Away Reformatory School for more footage. Those zombified brats are making me one rich.
We'll gladly take this over trash TV. Number 8. Michael J. Fox as Michael. This episode gives us 3 brilliant cameos for the price of 1. Anna Paquin is best known as Sookie Stackhouse on True Blood, making her well-suited to play a woman named Kristen in a vampire movie called Early Evening.
We were both moody outcasts. We loved each other.
Yes, we did.
She's paired with a vampire named Jared, voiced by Vampire Bill himself, Stephen Moyer. The best casting choice, however, is Michael J. Fox as a werewolf named Michael, paying homage to his role in Teen Wolf. Michael even wears a shirt with a 42 on it, just like Scott Howard's jersey in the movie. Much like a werewolf from another vampire franchise, though, he doesn't know how to keep his shirt on.
You'll no longer drink the blood of those you love.
This show's knack for parody and smart casting never ceases to amaze.
Where did that wind come from?
Oops, sorry. I opened the window. It was getting stuffy in here.
Number 7. Malcolm McDowell as Grandpa Reg. We doubt the show's younger viewers have seen A Clockwork Orange, Caligula, or the 2009 remake of Halloween. Since Phineas and Ferb has its fair share of adult fans, however, a good portion of the audience is bound to recognize Malcolm McDowell's distinctive voice.
I may seem like a balmy old git now, but when I wasn't so long in the tooth, I had some grand larks and engaged in a fair amount of daring do.
McDowell voices Reginald Fletcher, Ferb's biological grandfather and the step-grandfather of Phineas and Candace.
We also really want to jump a gorge.
Well, then you'll come with me. The flying fishmongers shall jump again!
Reg has lived a colorful life as a daredevil, and with a little help from his grandsons, he gets to fulfill his lifelong dream of jumping McGregor's Gorge.
Good show, me boy! Good show!
It's hard to think of a finer actor to voice this character than McDowell, especially since Phineas and Ferb have an idea of what it's like to be in Alex DeLarge's shoes. Number 6. Chloris Leechman as Doofenshmirtz's mother. Chloris Leechman has too many memorable roles in her filmography to count, but most people likely recognize her as Frau Blucher from Young Frankenstein.
What's got into them?
Frau Blucher wouldn't look out of place in a town like Gimmelstump, so who better than her to voice Doofenshmirtz's mother? Youngest son Roger has always been the bratwurst of Mrs. Doofenshmirtz's eye.
Oh, Roger, my son, you make me so proud again!
Meanwhile, she treats Heinz like a piece of strudel that got stuck to her shoe.
Mama! Yeah, that's the way you normally say it.
His mother's lack of affection has naturally tied into Heinz's life of evil. Sadly, he has a better chance of taking over the tri-state area than winning over his mother's approval. Leechman also voices Fireside Girls founder Eliza M. Fireside, which just goes to show what a versatile actress she is.
Is that even possible?
Well, it depends on how badly she wants it.
Number 5. Clay Aiken and Shaka Khan as themselves. It's no secret that Phineas and Ferb have friends in high places. When Phineas needs a stunt singer to perform an inspirational song one morning, Clay Aiken is there in full costume.
We can follow that old sun around the circumference of the globe and stop all the naysayers from naysaying.
Shaka Khan also shows up in Ferb's attire to turn the song into a rousing duet.
Shaka Khan, nice.
Speaking of which, I Believe We Can is just one of the many songs that you'll be humming after watching this special episode. It's Aiken and Khan's vocals that make the tune particularly catchy, however. It's too bad that Candace missed the performance.
You know, we're only booked for the hour.
Number 4. J.K. Simmons as Napoleon. This Oscar-winning actor popped up in Season 1 as a toy company owner, channeling the motormouth J. Jonah Jameson.
Phineas and Ferb, we're going to produce your toy that does nothing. I'll put both of you in charge and double your salaries. What do you say?
Actually, we've never made a salary.
Well, then I'll triple it.
But Simmons also returned towards the end of the show's run to voice Napoleon, a talking bug. Napoleon is never too far away from his fellow insects. Wendell, voiced by Josh Gad, and Floyd, voiced by Stephen Root.
Expedition Journal, Entry 3. We have bivouacked on a landing halfway up the cliffs.
I don't remember bivouacking.
I went before we left. Oy.
The trio aspires to make contact with humans and join OWCA, but the world remains oblivious to their existence. Despite coming up short, it'll take more than a textbook to crush Napoleon's can-do spirit.
I do believe I fractured my exoskeleton.
And I bivouacked!
Number 3. Seth MacFarlane as Jeff McGarland. Before Phineas and Ferb was picked up, co-creator Dan Povenmire worked on Family Guy, most notably directing the first few Road 2 episodes.
Whatever dangers we may face, we'll never fear or cry.
That's right, until we're syndicated, Fox will never let us die, please.
While tonally very different, you can definitely see how Family Guy's surreal humor and quality music paved the way for shows like Phineas and Ferb. Thus, it was only a matter of time until Seth MacFarlane made a trip to Danville. MacFarlane's natural speaking voice sticks out as Jeff McGarland, a television executive forced to sit through Doof's ridiculous pitch for a TV show.
You may have tied me up next to this, what is this, a beaver or something, and pitched me a TV series against my will, not to mention holding up the autograph line, but my advanced TV executive instincts tell me your show is going to be a big hit.
McGarland even subtly references the random gags that Family Guy is known for.
You can't just throw a giant monster into a story because you're stuck for an ending. It's lazy. It's lazy writing.
In another witty in-joke, McGarland suggests giving the platypus character a girlfriend, an ill-received idea that Disney actually floated by the show's creators. Number 2. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as Sean and Ed. Simon Pegg has made a few guest appearances on the show, even voicing C-3PO in the Star Wars special.
Now don't you forget this. Why I should stick my neck out for you is quite beyond my capacity.
Yet, the cameo that had us laughing the hardest was Pegg's reunion with his buddy Nick Frost. Even better, the two reprised their roles from Shaun of the Dead. In a zombie parody, Schmmerz accidentally causes a mindless, repulsive pharmacist outbreak. In the midst of the pharmacist apocalypse, Sean suddenly realizes how absurd the scenario is.
That doesn't even make sense. You get touched by a pharmacist, you become a pharmacist. I mean, you can't just grow a lab coat.
We mean, turning into an identical Doofenshmirtz is one thing, but where does the lab coat come from? Sean and Ed become so engaged in conversation that they forget about the mortal danger they're in.
Perhaps the disease infects your clothing as well.
Infects my... Are you insinuating that my clothes are alive? That's scarier than these pharmacists saying,
"Lots of me."
No, I suppose I didn't really think that through.
Lots of me.
They should have just gone to the Winchester and waited for all this to blow over. Number 1. Stan Lee as the hot dog vendor. Up until his passing in 2018, it was hard to imagine a major Marvel project without a Stan Lee cameo, even one that takes on a more comedic tone like the Phineas and Ferb crossover.
Wow, there's something you don't see every... What?
Really, Kenis?
Lee did not disappoint with his contributions to this epic special.
When last we left our handsome heroes, their fate hung in the balance in a cataclysmic cliffhanger.
In addition to narrating, Lee also voices a hot dog vendor who shares his exact likeness. An especially nice touch, his cart is labeled Excelsior. Following the latest superhero-supervillain showdown in New York, the vendor decides to relocate to Danville. Alas, the Marvel characters follow, and the vendor's cart is the most notable casualty.
Oh man, and I just moved here from New York because I thought it would be safer.
Ah well, maybe next time he should get a shawarma cart.